Good afternoon. I'm Jennifer Holmgren, and I'm the CEO of LanzaTech. In a world that is concerned about carbon and staying on a carbon budget, I think we would all agree that we need to put carbon only where it's absolutely required. The reality is that already the levelized cost of electricity from renewable resources is the same as that from fossil carbon. Therefore, there is absolutely no reason to continue to use carbon for the production of power. However, fuels like hydrocarbon fuels for aviation must have carbon because they need the energy density. We must also allocate carbon for the production of chemicals because the reality is that most of the chemicals we use in our daily lives are actually carbon-based backbones. But it's not just about staying in the carbon budget. The other question is, where does the carbon in your products come from? And we would argue that there is enough carbon in waste that is already above ground to make all the products that we need. The way our technology works is we utilize the fermentation of gases. You're used to the fermentation of sugar, the conversion of sugar to ethanol. We convert hydrogen, carbon monoxide, and carbon dioxide to ethanol using a bacteria and a continuous bioreactor. This looks a lot more like a refining process than a batch fermentation process. Where do these gases come from? They can come from steel mills, which are rich in carbon monoxide, or steel or refining emissions. We can also utilize gasified solids like municipal solid waste or biomass. Or we could use CO2 plus hydrogen to make exactly the same product. At the end, we have ethanol. We also can convert that ethanol to products like polyethylene or polyester, and I'll show you that, or aviation fuel or diesel. And obviously, because we can convert CO2, we close the cycle. And additionally, as you can imagine, we also need to take and recycle all of our products. This is not science fiction. This is our first commercially operating plant at a steel mill in China, which literally takes the carbon monoxide that would go out the flue and converts it through these bioreactors to ethanol. We have 3 operating plants now, 1 at a steel mill, 2 at ferroalloy plants, and these plants have all, the first plant has been Roundtable for Sustainable Biomaterials certified so that we can utilize it working with brands to make products. We're building plants across the world. Many of these plants utilize other feedstocks, including garbage and other waste resources, but we're creating a global platform. Now, the world does not need that much ethanol, but it does if you consider ethanol simply a building block. Ethanol is just a way to aggregate the carbon and the energy in those waste resources, and then that ethanol can be taken and converted to ethylene and then to sustainable aviation fuel. We launched a company called LanzaJet, whose entire role is to commercialize our alcohol to jet technology. And similarly, you can convert all these products, this ethanol, to other products. And in fact, we've done that at commercial scale. Zara sold a dress over the holidays where the polyester started as a steel mill emissions. Unilever has sold detergent on shoes, and Borealis have made shoes where the foam was derived from this ethanol. And I do want to stop in running through this talk quickly and take one moment and just take a deep breath and understand what I've just said. Because what I've told you is that a gas that was going to go out the flue of a steel mill has been converted to all these things. This is possible. This changes how everything is made. So let's talk a little bit about garbage, about solid waste. The fact is that less than 9% of all plastic ever made has been recycled. No matter how much you put in your recycling bin, not much of that has been recycled. So imagine all of that carbon becoming the feedstock to make products. In fact, a quarter of the world's trash, garbage, is not even collected. This is actually true in most of the developing world. There are billions of dollars of BTU, of calorific value in that trash that are just sitting in mountains. To me, this means that the developing world is a massive opportunity to leapfrog over what we normally do, which is literally to take the trash to a landfill. Why would you do that? Why would you maybe incinerate it for power? Why not instead use technologies that allow you to efficiently convert that to products so that you've closed the loop? This is the future. We have shown that we can do it on a pilot scale in Japan. This is an operating commercial municipal solid waste site. And we have just signed an agreement to do this in Rome, where we will convert Rome city waste to products. Biology is ideally suited to do something like this. Unlike thermocatalysis, biology can handle chaos. So if you have a variable carbon-hydrogen ratio, any variability from plastic to wood, you can still convert it. And this is the power of biology, and that's why we're able to make these products. So a little bit too much chemistry on this slide, but I do want to make one point. Today, we start with ethanol from waste gases to make plastics and polyester. But the future, what biology really allows you to do is to bypass all of that and to make the molecules that you want selectively. So someday, instead of taking trash and making ethanol, we'll take trash and make monomers and polymers. And in fact, the ability of biology to utilize the same reactor system to make different products means that someday, instead of chasing commodity waves, we'll be able to make whatever product we need on time, on purpose, from the same waste resource. We need supportive legislation globally. We need to make sure that legislation doesn't incentivize old sorting approaches and instead incentivizes new technology. And I would argue that after what I've shown you, we should be rethinking carbon. We should think that refining is about waste carbon and not just fresh fossil carbon. And note that biology is able to make the things we need so that we can go from this to this. We call this a post-pollution future where there is no pollution because there is no waste, because pollution is the feedstock of the future. I thank you.